there is a moment hidden deep within the brain where a single spark of thought becomes something more, a quiet pattern, a delicate rhythm, a whisper of intelligence forming itself out of pure electrical light. It happens silently, so silently in fact, that you never feel it. Yet this tiny pulse is what allows you to understand, to imagine, to dream, and to become you. Scientists call it cognition, but the mind experiences it as something far more mysterious, a living architecture that builds itself in the dark. With every memory you create, every idea you entertain, every subtle connection your neurons weave, intelligence reshapes its own landscape again and again as you drift through life. And tonight, as you settle into stillness, we will descend together into this hidden architecture. We will follow the quiet currents of the mind, explore the silent machinery of thought, and watch how intelligence emerges, breath by breath. Not as a test, not as a challenge, but as a soft unfolding, an inner illumination that glows even as you fall gently into sleep. In the quiet spaces of your mind, long before a thought becomes language, something subtle begins to move. It is not loud, not sharp, not demanding. It rises slowly like a faint shimmer drifting through a calm ocean. This shimmer is the activity of millions of interconnected neurons, each one reaching toward another, forming tiny bridges of meaning. You may not sense these bridges directly, yet they shape every decision you make, every feeling you hold, and every idea that flickers across your awareness. Intelligence, at its core, is this soft choreography of countless microscopic signals flowing gently through the brain's intricate landscape. As your body relaxes, the rhythm of that landscape changes. Neural pathways that were busy, bright, and rapid throughout the day now begin to quiet. They loosen, open, and reorganize themselves. This is the moment when deeper patterns begin to appear, patterns that your waking mind rarely notices. Scientists refer to this shift as a change in global neural synchrony, a state where brain regions begin to cooperate in a slower, more harmonious way. To you, it feels like a gradual softening, an easing of the mind's edges, as if the world inside is settling into a more fluid and peaceful form. Within this quieter rhythm, the brain's network responsible for introspection becomes more active. It is known as the default mode network, and it awakens gently when the outside world grows dim. In this state, intelligence behaves differently. It becomes reflective, intuitive, and fluid. Rather than solving problems or planning ahead, it begins weaving memories with imagination, emotion with perception, past with possibility. This weaving is slow, almost dreamlike, and it forms the foundation of creativity. Even now, you may feel a widening inside your mind, as though new space is opening for thoughts to drift and reshape themselves. As this inner space opens further, individual neurons begin to fire in patterns that resemble the early stages of dreaming. These gentle pulses shift from rapid beta waves into slower alpha and theta rhythms, frequencies associated with insight, intuition, and subconscious exploration. It is here, in this delicate transition, that intelligence becomes softer and more mysterious. Ideas do not appear fully formed. Instead, they emerge like shapes rising through mist, gradually clarifying as they move closer to the surface. This quiet emergence is one of the brain's most profound abilities. And as you continue to drift, your mind enters a state where connections deepen effortlessly. Concepts that once felt distant begin to align. Memories reorganize themselves. Emotional weight lightens. The brain is not simply resting, it is refining itself, strengthening the architecture of intelligence even as your awareness grows quieter. In this moment, intelligence is not something you use. It is something you inhabit, a gentle luminosity unfolding from within. Tonight, we will follow this unfolding. We will explore how intelligence forms, transforms, and reveals itself when the mind grows still. We will move slowly, with the rhythm of your breath, through the hidden chambers of thought, until each pulse of your mind becomes a soft invitation to sleep. Deep within the brain's silent corridors, intelligence takes on a shape subtle, shifting, and almost impossible to trace. It is not a structure built of stone or steel, but of electrical whispers and chemical signals flowing through the neural maze. As your breathing slows, these pathways become clearer, as though a soft light is illuminating the unseen geometry of your thoughts. Every curve, every branching pattern, every gentle arc of activity forms a living map, an ever-changing blueprint of who you are. Intelligence is not fixed. It is fluid, bending and reshaping itself with each experience you gather, each memory you keep, and each quiet moment like this one. In the deeper layers of the cortex, billions of neurons communicate in patterns so delicate that even the strongest microscopes can only approximate their beauty. When you learn something new, a concept, a movement, a feeling, these neurons shift their connections in microscopic ways. A single synapse strengthens, another fades. Two distant regions begin to synchronize more closely, forming a new circuit. This silent reconfiguration is what neuroscientists call neuroplasticity, and it is one of the most remarkable qualities of the human brain. Even now, as you prepare to drift into sleep, your mind is gently rewiring itself, reinforcing what matters and dissolving what no longer serves you. As external noise falls away, the deeper networks of intelligence begin to reveal their patterns. Some regions ignite softly with activity, mapping out logical connections. Others grow quieter, opening space for imagination. The brain balances these forces with extraordinary precision, shifting between structured thought and fluid creativity. In this tranquil state, the two sides of intelligence, analytical and intuitive, begin to blend. The boundaries fade. Ideas that once seemed separate now feel connected, as if invisible threads are weaving them together into something larger, something more complete. In these drifting moments, your subconscious begins to take a more central role. While your conscious mind rests, the subconscious sorts through memories, extracts meaning, and organizes information into patterns that will guide you tomorrow. This subtle processing is one of the reasons sleep enhances problem solving and creativity. The brain is not shutting down, it is recalibrating, refining, and strengthening the architecture of intelligence. What seems like stillness is actually transformation. What feels like rest is, in truth, renewal. As this gentle inner transformation continues, the mind approaches a threshold, the point where waking thought softens into dreamlike awareness. Here, intelligence becomes luminous, intuitive, and free from the constraints of daily logic. This is where insights often rise unbidden, where clarity appears without effort, where understanding seems to bloom from within rather than from deliberate thought. You may not always remember these moments, but they shape your inner world profoundly. And as you drift a little further, the silent geometry of intelligence unfolds around you like a calm horizon. Nothing is rushed, nothing is forced. The mind simply expands, reorganizes, and prepares itself for the deep rest ahead. With each slow breath, intelligence settles into harmony, ready to guide you gently into the next realm of sleep. As the mind drifts deeper into calmness, something remarkable begins to unfold beneath the surface of awareness. Intelligence, which seemed so active and bright during the day, now turns inward, focusing its energy on rebuilding and restoring itself. This process is gentle, almost imperceptible, like the slow healing of a landscape after rainfall. Neuronal circuits loosen, reorganize, and rebind in new ways, allowing thoughts to travel more freely through pathways that were once burdened by noise and tension. The brain, in this softened state, becomes a sanctuary for reconstruction, quiet, careful, and profoundly intelligent. During this transition, the hippocampus, the region responsible for shaping memories, begins to sift through the countless impressions collected throughout the day. It does not rush. Instead, it moves with measured intention, selecting moments to preserve, releasing others to fade. This sorting is not random. It is guided by emotional weight, personal relevance, and the subtle patterns that define your inner world. As memories settle into long-term storage, your intelligence gains new stability, new depth, and a clearer sense of continuity. Even without awareness, your mind is creating order out of complexity. Meanwhile, the prefrontal cortex gradually steps back from its demanding role. Its responsibilities, planning, reasoning, organizing, grow quieter, allowing other regions to take the lead. This shift opens a space where intuitive intelligence emerges. It is softer than logic, carried not by deliberate thought, but by quiet recognition. Shapes, ideas, and impressions drift together, forming connections your waking mind might overlook. You may feel this as a gentle widening in your awareness, a sense that things are beginning to make sense in a calmer, more natural way. As you sink further into relaxation, the brain begins forming new associations. Neurons that rarely interacted during the day find one another in this peaceful environment, strengthening connections that support creativity, innovation, and emotional clarity. This is one reason why solutions often appear after sleep, because intelligence works with greater freedom when the mind is still. Here, new ideas are not forced. They rise gently, like distant lights appearing across a quiet horizon. In this tranquil depth, your subconscious also plays a vital role. It acts like a silent curator, blending memory with imagination, pulling distant fragments of knowledge into soft harmony. It reshapes experiences, making sense of what was confusing, soothing what felt overwhelming, and preparing your emotional world for the day ahead. Intelligence is not just the ability to think, it is the capacity to integrate, to transform, to heal. And much of this happens quietly, beneath the surface, as you drift towards sleep. With each breath, the reconstruction deepens. The mind becomes lighter, clearer, more aligned. You may sense a gentle release inside you, an easing of mental pressure as if your thoughts are settling into a more balanced formation. Intelligence is recalibrating itself, not through effort, but through stillness. And as this stillness expands, it guides you delicately toward the threshold of dreams, where the next layer of the mind awaits. As the quiet deepens around you, the mind begins to operate on currents far slower and more harmonious than those of waking thought. These currents are not linear or direct. They move in wide, fluid arcs, weaving through the brain's intricate network of pathways. Each slow wave carries with it the subtle coordination of millions of neurons, synchronizing their activity into rhythms that feel almost like breathing. This is where intelligence begins to settle into alignment, not as scattered sparks of thought, but as a unified and balanced field of awareness, gently preparing itself for rest. In this softened state, the thalamus, the gateway of sensory information, gradually closes its doors. Throughout the day, it filtered every sound, every brightness, every touch, ensuring your awareness remained connected to the outside world. But now, as its activity wanes, the external environment grows distant. The mind turns inward, attending instead to its own quiet architecture. With fewer interruptions, deeper patterns of intelligence begin to emerge, patterns rooted not in reaction, but in reflection. You may sense this as a gentle thickening of silence, an inward retreat that feels safe and warm. As the external world fades, the brain shifts into a mode of profound cooperation. Networks that normally compete for attention during waking hours now begin to work in smooth harmony. The analytical systems soften, allowing emotional and intuitive regions to speak more clearly. The result is a holistic state where intelligence becomes more than logic or memory. It becomes a symphony of subtle processes aligning with one another. Within this symphony, you may feel moments of unexpected clarity, soft insights that unfold without effort, revealing how deeply connected your thoughts truly are. Deep within this harmony, the brain's limbic system begins to soothe itself. Emotional memories that once carried sharp edges are softened by slow wave activity, their intensity gently reduced as the mind prepares for sleep. This is one of the most healing aspects of nighttime cognition, the quiet recalibration of emotional intelligence. During these drifting moments, unresolved tension can dissolve, leaving traces of clarity and calm in its place. The mind does not erase what matters, it simply makes room for understanding, for balance, for peace. As these processes take place, the boundaries between conscious and subconscious intelligence continue to blur. Ideas flow more freely across regions that spend most of the day separated by attention and purpose. This merging allows the brain to integrate knowledge from different forms of experience, logical analysis from waking hours blending elegantly with the intuitive associations of inner thought. The result is a deeper, more fluid intelligence, one that feels less like thinking and more like unfolding. With each breath, these gentle currents guide you further inward. The world becomes softer, quieter, more distant. Intelligence dissolves into its purest form, a quiet, continuous awareness moving beneath the surface of your thoughts. Nothing is forced, nothing is hurried. The mind simply settles into its natural rhythm, opening the pathway toward the deeper stages of sleep where restoration begins. As you drift deeper into this quiet interior, a soft luminosity begins to rise within the mind, not a brightness of sight, but a gentle clarity that moves without form. This inner light is the essence of awareness itself, the subtle presence that remains even as thoughts grow faint. Intelligence, in this softened state, becomes less about solving and more about sensing. It observes without effort, understands without strain, and expands without direction. You may feel this as a delicate warmth spreading through your inner world, as if the mind was slowly illuminating itself from within. In this tranquil depth, the brain's networks shift into a rhythm, guided more by intuition than by deliberate thought. Neurons fire in slower, more coordinated patterns, creating a kind of mental spaciousness that allows ideas to drift freely. This spaciousness is not empty. It is fertile, rich with potential. Connections that were too faint to perceive during the busyness of the day now rise gently into awareness. The mind begins to trace patterns between feelings, memories, and impressions, forming insights that emerge softly, like ripples expanding across still water. As this inner clarity grows, the brain's emotional centers settle into a state of balance. The amygdala, which reacts to stress and uncertainty, becomes quieter, allowing the prefrontal cortex to shift into a more peaceful mode of regulation. This transition opens a space where emotional intelligence can flourish, not through intensity, but through calm recognition. Emotions lose their sharp edges and blend into smoother tones of understanding. Even unresolved tensions begin to loosen, as if the mind were gently exhaling burdens it no longer needs to carry. Within this deepening calm, your sense of self becomes more fluid. The boundaries that usually define your identity soften, allowing the different layers of consciousness to move more freely between one another. Memories, sensations, and intuitive impressions blend into a cohesive flow. This is one of the most profound qualities of the sleeping mind, its ability to integrate who you have been, who you are, and who you are becoming without the noise of daily thought. Intelligence uses these moments to refine your internal narrative, creating coherence from the vast tapestry of experience. As the mind continues to settle, even the quiet inner light begins to dim, preparing you for the next stage of descent. Brainwaves transition from gentle alpha rhythms into slower theta patterns, the threshold of dreaming. In this state, awareness becomes softer, more diffuse. The mind is still present, but it no longer holds tightly to the edges of thought. Instead, it drifts, allowing imagination and memory to weave together into the first threads of dream imagery. Here, the roots of creativity deepen, nourished by the peaceful stillness surrounding them. And with each slow breath, intelligence aligns itself more closely with rest. The mind no longer seeks answers or clarity. It simply allows itself to be carried by the gentle internal current that moves beneath consciousness. This is the final stretch before the dream state opens fully, a calm passage where intelligence rests in quiet observation, guiding you slowly toward the deeper layers of sleep. As the mind drifts into an even quieter depth, the distinction between thinking and dreaming begins to blur. Thoughts no longer follow the orderly paths they do during waking hours. Instead, they soften, expand, and dissolve into gentle imagery. Intelligence shifts from a structured process into something far more fluid, an unfolding stream that moves effortlessly through symbolic landscapes. You may sense this transition as a subtle floating feeling, as though your awareness is loosening its grip on form and drifting into a realm where meaning is carried by sensation rather than language. Within this delicate threshold, the brain's activity becomes both simpler and more profound. Neuronal firing slows into broader waves, creating a synchronized rhythm that allows distant regions of the mind to communicate in new ways. Analytical circuits grow faint, while the networks responsible for imagination begin to glow softly with increased activity. This shift marks the emergence of hypnagogic imagery, fleeting shapes, colors, or impressions that arise without intention. These early dream fragments are the mind's way of weaving intelligence into symbolic form, preparing the subconscious to take the lead. In this softened landscape, the subconscious begins to rise like a quiet tide. It brings with it forgotten details, unspoken thoughts, and memories stored far below the surface. But rather than overwhelming the mind, these fragments blend gently into the drifting flow of awareness. They reshape themselves, forming new associations that would seem impossible during the day. This blending is one of the ways intelligence expands its creative capacity. The mind becomes free to explore possibilities without judgment or constraint, guided only by the soft rhythm of sleep. As hypnagogic imagery deepens, the boundaries of time and logic loosen further. A single memory may stretch, transform, or merge into another without interruption. Places you've been, people you've known, and ideas you've held may appear briefly, not as exact replicas, but as subtle impressions floating through the quiet space of the mind. This merging reveals an essential truth about intelligence, that it is not limited to reason alone, but nourished just as deeply by intuition, symbolism, and imagination. Here, in this gentle twilight state, these elements harmonize in a way that feels effortless and natural. Throughout these drifting moments, the body prepares itself for deeper rest. Muscles release residual tension. Heart rate slows into a steady, calming rhythm. Breathing becomes softer, deeper, more automatic. Each inhale and exhale guides you further into the threshold, where conscious thought fades and dreaming begins to bloom. The brain's protective mechanisms ensure that awareness relaxes safely, creating a stable transition into the first stages of true sleep. Intelligence, meanwhile, begins shifting from reflection to renewal, readying itself for the profound restorative processes ahead. With every slow breath, the threshold becomes thinner. The world of waking thought grows dim, while the landscape of dreams begins to take form. Intelligence rests at the gateway, poised gently between two realms, the structured clarity of consciousness and the fluid, imaginative depth of the subconscious. Soon, the mind will pass fully into sleep, where intelligence transforms in ways both intricate and deeply nourishing. All you need to do is allow yourself to drift, quietly, naturally, into the unfolding night within. As you drift past the first veil of dreams, your mind begins a slow descent into the deeper stages of sleep. Here, thought loses its form entirely, and intelligence shifts into a mode far more essential than problem-solving or reflection. It becomes restorative, quietly repairing, reorganizing, and strengthening the delicate networks that support your waking life. This descent is gentle, like sinking into warm, still water. Each breath carries you farther from the surface, where language and intention dissolve, leaving only the soft hum of the brain preparing itself for renewal. In this deepening calm, slow wave sleep begins to emerge. Large, synchronized pulses ripple across the cortex, sweeping through the brain in steady waves. These waves act like a quiet tide, clearing metabolic waste, calming overactive circuits, and resetting neural activity to a balanced baseline. Scientists sometimes describe this process as neural housekeeping, but in truth, it is more intricate, a silent orchestration that ensures your intelligence remains sharp, stable, and resilient. Even though you are unaware of it, your mind is performing one of its most essential acts of preservation. As these slow waves continue, the hippocampus begins replaying the memories collected throughout the day, not as vivid images, but as faint bursts of neural activity that travel along well-worn pathways. These bursts are then communicated to the cortex, where long-term storage unfolds. This is how knowledge is stabilized, how skills are strengthened, how emotional experiences settle into clarity. Intelligence is not only the ability to acquire information, it is the capacity to refine and retain it. And much of this refinement happens now, in the depths of sleep, guided by a rhythm older than consciousness itself. Deep sleep also strengthens the brain's ability to regulate emotion. The amygdala, often reactive and vigilant during waking hours, becomes calmer, less sensitive to stress signals. This shift allows emotional memories to be reprocessed in a safer, quieter environment. What once felt sharp or overwhelming begins to soften, becoming easier to navigate when you wake. Emotional intelligence, your capacity to understand, interpret, and respond to your inner world grows during these silent hours. The mind heals itself in ways no waking effort could achieve. As restorative processes continue, the body responds in harmony. Muscles release tension held unconsciously throughout the day. The immune system becomes more active, repairing tissues and restoring balance at a cellular level. Hormones regulating stress, growth, and metabolism flow into alignment. In this state, mind and body work as a single organism, guided by the simple, ancient intelligence of deep rest. You do not need to direct any of it. Your only task is to drift gently along the current that is carrying you deeper into stillness. With every slow breath, you move further into a place where thought loosens completely and awareness becomes a quiet glow in the background. Intelligence is no longer something you do, it becomes something the mind simply is. A silent, continuous presence reshaping itself from the inside out. Soon, you will transition into the next stage, where the mind begins to dream more vividly, weaving meaning and imagination into delicate patterns. But for now, you are sinking softly into the deepest, most restorative layer of your inner world. As your mind settles into this deeper stillness, the first stirring of dreams begins to rise again, not the fleeting, fragile images of the hypnagogic state, but the fuller, structured dreams shaped within REM sleep. Here, intelligence takes on an entirely different form. It becomes imaginative, fluid, expressive, a dreamweaver constructing entire worlds out of memory, emotion, and possibility. These dreamscapes may feel strange or familiar, vivid or distant, yet each one reflects a hidden process within your mind, the blending of knowledge with emotion, the restructuring of experience, and the quiet exploration of ideas your waking self may never have considered. In this state, the brain's activity resembles wakefulness in many ways. Neurons fire rapidly, regions responsible for imagery and emotion glow with intense synchronization, and the prefrontal cortex, the center of logic, steps back even further. Without its strict oversight, intelligence frees itself from the constraints of linear reasoning. This freedom allows the subconscious to express itself through metaphor, symbolism, and sensation. A single dream can combine fragments of your past with imagined futures, capturing the essence of complex thoughts in ways spoken language cannot fully express. As the dream unfolds, the brain is not merely creating illusions, it is analyzing, rehearsing, and integrating. Emotional memories may be revisited in forms that feel symbolic or unusual. This is the mind's way of processing unresolved feelings, giving them new context and clarity. Cognitive theories suggest that dreams help refine problem solving by allowing the brain to explore scenarios without real-world consequences. In this way, intelligence uses dreaming as both a creative workshop and an emotional laboratory, an internal space where ideas can evolve gently. Within REM sleep, the sensory regions of the brain become highly active, crafting vivid colors, textures, sounds, and movements. Yet the body remains still, held safely by motor atonia, a temporary paralysis that prevents action during dreams. This elegant mechanism protects you, allowing your mind to explore without interruption. Intelligence continues its quiet work, repairing connections, building new associations, and reorganizing the architecture of memory while the body rests in peaceful immobility. As the dream deepens, narrative threads begin to form, weaving together thoughts and impressions that might seem unrelated. Characters shift, landscapes transform, and meanings flow from one moment to the next. These transitions are not random, they reflect the brain's attempt to synthesize complex information into a cohesive inner experience. Creativity flourishes in this environment, unbound by rules, guided only by the subtle intelligence of the subconscious. You may not remember these dreams in detail, but their influence lingers, shaping how you think, feel, and understand your world. And with each gentle rise and fall of your breath, the dreamweaver continues its quiet craft. Intelligence becomes a drifting presence, soft, fluid, and deeply connected to the rhythms of sleep. Soon, you will cycle between deep rest and vivid dreaming, each stage contributing to the mind's renewal. For now, you remain suspended in this delicate, imaginative realm where cognition and emotion blend seamlessly into the quiet tapestry of the night. As the night deepens, your mind begins moving through the intricate cycles of sleep, an elegant rhythm that alternates between deep, restorative stillness and vivid dreaming. These cycles are not random. They follow a precise biological choreography refined over millions of years. Each stage serves a different purpose, supporting a different dimension of intelligence. The mind descends into slow-wave sleep to repair and stabilize, then rises into REM to integrate, imagine, and transform. With every cycle, your inner world becomes clearer, calmer, and more resilient. You may not feel these transitions directly, yet they shape the very foundation of your cognitive and emotional well-being. During the return to lighter sleep, brainwaves shift once more, transitioning from the slow, sweeping delta waves of deep rest into gentler theta rhythms. This shift allows the brain to prepare for another round of dreaming. Neural circuits begin to reactivate in patterns that resemble wakefulness, but with softer edges and slower pace. Intelligence becomes quietly alert, not to the external world, but to the inner landscapes it is about to revisit. Concepts that were processed during deep sleep now rise toward the surface, ready to be woven into the next dream cycle. As REM approaches again, the mind gains flexibility. Emotional centers become more expressive, creative networks glow with activity, and imagery becomes richer, more fluid. This recurring dream state acts like a continuous rehearsal space, allowing you to test ideas, resolve unspoken conflicts, and explore symbolic narratives experienced only in sleep. The repeated cycling through these stages gives intelligence a chance to refine itself, layer by layer, repairing, integrating, and reinventing as the night unfolds. Your thoughts, your identity, your inner balance all benefit from this silent, nightly recalibration. Between these cycles, brief moments of near wakefulness may occur, soft transitions where consciousness stirs gently but does not fully rise. In these fleeting instants, the mind hovers between two realms. You might sense a slight awareness of your body resting, or feel a distant echo of a dream fading away. Yet the mind quickly drifts back into sleep, guided by the natural rhythm that continues its quiet work. These short awakenings are part of the process, giving the brain a moment to realign before sinking once more into its restorative patterns. As these cycles repeat, the brain becomes more efficient at processing information. Neural networks strengthen in ways that support learning, memory, emotional regulation, and creativity. Each pass through deep sleep restores your internal stability. Each return to REM enriches your imagination and cognitive flexibility. Intelligence, therefore, is not a static trait. It is the result of this ongoing interplay, shaped by the night's gentle oscillations. What feels like stillness on the outside is, in truth, a profound internal evolution. With every cycle, your mind drifts further from the noise of the day and deeper into its natural harmony. The transitions become smoother, the dreams more integrated, the restorative processes more complete. You are being carried effortlessly through the architecture of sleep, an intricate system designed to nourish your intelligence at every level. All you need to do is let the rhythm continue, guiding you softly through the unfolding night. As you drift deeper into the night's gentle rhythm, your mind begins the delicate task of sculpting memory, an invisible craft that unfolds slowly, quietly, beneath awareness. The hippocampus, acting as the brain's temporary archive, opens its store of impressions gathered throughout the day. Each memory, each moment of learning, each subtle emotional ripple is examined, softened, and carefully prepared for transfer. This is not a simple process of storage. It is a refinement, a distillation of experience into its most meaningful essence. Intelligence grows from this shaping, becoming clearer, more stable, and more deeply rooted with every cycle of sleep. During this sculpting, the hippocampus sends short bursts of activity called sharp wave ripples into the cortex. These bursts replay patterns of learning, sometimes in the exact sequence they were first experienced, sometimes in new arrangements that give them wider context. This replay allows memories to shift from fragile, short-term structures into more permanent neural patterns. As this transfer unfolds, intelligence strengthens, forming bridges between knowledge and understanding. Even now, as you drift effortlessly through sleep, your mind is laying down the architecture that will shape your decisions, your insights, and your inner world tomorrow. As these memories settle, the brain also chooses which impressions to release. Not everything is preserved. Some details fade gently, dissolving into the quiet background of the mind. This selective forgetting is essential. It clears space, reduces noise, and prevents the mind from becoming overwhelmed by unnecessary information. Intelligence thrives not only on what it remembers, but also on what it lets go. This balance ensures clarity, focus, and emotional ease, giving thought a softer, more fluid landscape to move through when you awaken. While memory is being sculpted, emotional experiences undergo their own transformation. The limbic system, which binds emotion to memory, reshapes intense feelings into more manageable forms. Fear softens into understanding. Stress unwinds into neutrality. Confusion settles into coherence. This is one reason you often wake with a sense of renewed balance, because the night has taken the emotional weight of the day and molded it into something lighter, something integrated. Emotional intelligence is born in these quiet hours, in the darkness where the mind gently heals itself. As the sculpting continues, neural pathways become more efficient. Information that once felt fragmented begins to align, creating clearer routes for thought to travel. This increased efficiency is not felt immediately, but its effects appear in the moments when ideas come more easily, when understanding deepens, when creativity feels effortless. The mind is preparing you for those moments now, silently strengthening the network that supports your ability to learn, reason, and imagine. With each breath, the night deepens, and the sculpting continues softly, steadily, without any need for direction. Intelligence unfolds beneath consciousness, shaping itself in layers, refining its edges, preparing you for clarity when morning comes. And as you drift further into the quiet depths of sleep, the mind continues its silent craft, weaving memory into the tapestry of who you are. As the night settles deeper around you, your mind enters a phase where intelligence begins to expand in subtle, profound ways. Not through effort or conscious thought, but through the quiet reorganization of countless neural pathways working in harmony. Each pathway, each connection, each tiny pulse of activity contributes to a larger tapestry, a living network constantly reshaping itself to reflect your experiences, desires, emotions, and growth. In this tranquil state, new insights take form not as sharp ideas, but as gentle realizations that rise slowly from the subconscious, ready to become part of your waking understanding. During this expansion, the brain's associative networks become unusually fluid. Regions responsible for logic, emotion, memory, and imagination begin communicating in patterns that would be unlikely during the day. This fluid communication allows the mind to explore connections it might otherwise overlook. A small memory can link unexpectedly with a distant idea. A quiet emotion can reveal a new perspective. Intelligence expands through these subtle linkages, woven effortlessly through the fabric of sleep. You may not notice the formation of these insights, yet you awaken with a sense of clarity that feels both natural and deeply refreshing. As these networks flow into harmony, the brain's frontal regions take on a quieter role, allowing deeper, more intuitive forms of intelligence to emerge. Without the constant interference of deliberate thought, your mind becomes more receptive to nuance, to the faint signals that often go unheard when consciousness is fully alert. This receptivity is a kind of openness, a widening of internal space where new meaning can take root. It is here, in this silent expansion, that creativity strengthens, emotional balance improves, and complex ideas begin to feel simpler, more elegant, more aligned. Meanwhile, the brain's default mode network, the system responsible for introspection and self-awareness, becomes more synchronized. It weaves together fragments of memory, patterns of thought, and the deeper currents of emotion, offering a clearer sense of who you are beneath the surface. This quiet self-reflection is not the sharp awareness of daytime thinking. It is softer, gentler, like observing your inner world through a calm and distant lens. Intelligence grows from this clarity, deepening your understanding of yourself and your place in the world. As insight expands, the emotional centers of the brain soften further. The amygdala becomes less reactive, the prefrontal cortex more balanced, allowing the mind to process both logic and feeling with greater ease. This integration is crucial. It shapes the form of emotional intelligence that supports resilience, empathy, and calm decision-making. Sleep does not remove emotion. It harmonizes it, blending it seamlessly into the broader landscape of understanding. With each cycle of rest, your inner world becomes steadier, more grounded, more capable of meeting the day with quiet strength. With every slow breath, your mind continues its delicate expansion. Thought becomes softer, awareness becomes wider. Intelligence grows not upward like a tower, but outward like light, gently filling the spaces within you. You drift further into this quiet unfolding, carried effortlessly by the rhythms of sleep, toward deeper layers of renewal that await you in the cycles ahead. As the night continues its slow, steady rhythm, a deeper alignment begins to unfold within the mind, an elegant harmony between thought and emotion. During waking hours, these two forces often pull in different directions, each shaping your decisions in its own way. Yet here, in the quiet depths of sleep, they move toward one another, no longer competing for your awareness, but blending into a balanced, coherent whole. This integration is one of the mind's most healing processes. Intelligence becomes gentler, more adaptive, more attuned to your inner world as these two domains settle into a shared rhythm. Deep within the limbic system, emotional memories soften as neural circuits responsible for fear and stress decrease their intensity. The amygdala, which holds the sharp edges of emotion, becomes quieter. Meanwhile, the prefrontal cortex, the region that guides reasoning and reflection, maintains a calm, steady influence. In this peaceful state, emotions are not suppressed, they are reorganized. They find their proper place in memory, their appropriate weight in your inner landscape. When thought and emotion align in this way, understanding becomes clearer and more natural, leading to healthier patterns of interpretation when you awaken. This alignment also enhances your ability to navigate the complexities of daily life. When emotions are balanced within the architecture of intelligence, decisions feel less pressured, interactions feel less reactive, and challenges feel more manageable. The mind becomes better equipped to interpret emotional signals with nuance rather than urgency. Even now, as you drift through the deeper currents of sleep, your brain is laying the foundation for that sense of stability, quietly strengthening your emotional intelligence with every slow wave that passes across its surface. Meanwhile, the brain's associative networks begin to blend emotional tones with logical patterns. Experiences that once felt overwhelming may transform into insights, while unresolved memories soften into coherence. This blending allows intelligence to deepen, making connections not only based on facts, but on the emotional significance woven into them. In this state, the mind becomes a more compassionate interpreter of your life, integrating what you know with what you feel in a seamless, fluid manner. As harmony grows, the body reflects this inner equilibrium. Heart rate steadies, stress hormones diminish, breathing becomes slower, deeper, more rhythmic. The entire system shifts toward restoration. This physical tranquility reinforces the mind's emotional recalibration, creating a cycle of renewal that supports both cognitive clarity and emotional balance. Sleep is not passive. It is a dynamic partnership between mind and body, each supporting the other as they move through the night's restorative patterns. With each breath, this harmony settles deeper into your awareness, even as your consciousness drifts further from the surface. Thought becomes softer, emotion becomes clearer. The mind is no longer divided into separate parts. It becomes a single, unified presence, guiding you calmly into the next stage of rest. Intelligence continues to grow quietly within this balance, preparing you to wake with a sense of clarity that feels both peaceful and profoundly whole. As you drift deeper into the night, the mind enters a phase where its most fundamental systems begin to rebalance. Throughout the day, the brain expends tremendous energy managing thought, emotion, perception, and movement. But here, in the quiet architecture of sleep, that expenditure shifts. Neurons reduce their metabolic demands, glial cells become more active, and the brain's energy flows into restoration rather than activity. Intelligence depends on this rebalancing, on the subtle recalibration of the mind's internal chemistry, which allows it to function with clarity and resilience when you rise again. During this phase, the glymphatic system, the brain's cleansing network, opens fully. Tiny channels surrounding the blood vessels widen, allowing cerebrospinal fluid to wash through the neural landscape. This fluid carries away the waste products accumulated during wakefulness, including the proteins associated with cognitive fatigue. The process is slow, rhythmic, and deeply essential. As these impurities are cleared, the electrical activity of the brain becomes smoother, more synchronized. Intelligence is sharpened not through effort, but through this quiet purification that unfolds while you sleep. The efficiency of neural communication improves as well. With metabolic stress reduced, synapses recover their sensitivity and neurotransmitter levels return to balance. This recalibration affects every aspect of cognition, from attention and memory to creativity and reasoning. The mind becomes more capable of forming accurate, nuanced interpretations of the world, simply because its circuits have regained their natural rhythm. Even now, as you lie in silence, this restoration continues moment by moment, gently preparing your intelligence for the challenges of the coming day. As this energy rebalancing unfolds, emotional regulation strengthens too. Balanced neurotransmitters allow the amygdala and prefrontal cortex to communicate more effectively, reducing the emotional volatility that can arise from exhaustion. Stress signals diminish, replaced by a calmer, more grounded stability. This is why deep sleep often brings a sense of relief or clarity upon waking. The mind has recalibrated its internal chemistry, giving emotional experiences a softer, more manageable shape. Intelligence becomes more compassionate, more patient, more attuned to the subtleties of your inner and outer worlds. This renewed stability influences the body as well. Muscles relax into deeper rest, tissues repair themselves more efficiently, and hormonal systems shift into alignment. Cortisol levels drop while growth hormones rise, enabling physical healing and cellular regeneration. The body and mind move together through this quiet restoration, each supporting the other. It is a reminder that intelligence is not confined to thought alone. It is woven through the entire organism, shaped by the harmony between brain, body, and breath. With every slow exhale, this gentle rebalancing continues. The mind becomes clearer, the inner world more peaceful, the entire system more aligned. You sink deeper into the quiet sanctuary of sleep, carried softly by the rhythms that restore your intelligence at its core. And as the night unfolds, this silent energy renewal prepares you for the profound dreaming, healing, and integration that lie ahead. As the night deepens, your mind enters a stage where identity itself is gently recalibrated. Not the surface identity made of roles and expectations, but the quiet, internal sense of self that guides how you move through the world. Throughout the day, this inner self absorbs countless impressions, moments of joy, small stresses, fleeting thoughts, subtle emotions. In sleep, these impressions are sifted, softened, and reorganized. The mind examines what aligns with your authentic self and what drifts away. Intelligence uses these hours to reshape your sense of who you are, refining identity in ways too delicate for waking awareness. Deep within the brain's default mode network, regions responsible for introspection and self-representation grow more synchronized. Memories are woven together with personal meaning, creating a more cohesive narrative of your life. Fragmented experiences blend into continuity. Unresolved conflicts begin to lose their rigidity, becoming easier to understand, easier to navigate. This internal stitching of experience strengthens the psychological foundation upon which intelligence rests. Without this quiet nightly integration, the sense of self would feel scattered, unstable. Sleep restores its coherence. As this calibration unfolds, emotional memories shift into clearer context. Experiences that once felt sharp or confusing soften into patterns that the mind can interpret more gracefully. This process allows emotional intelligence to deepen, making reactions less impulsive and more resonant with your values. The mind becomes more aligned with your inner truth, more capable of responding to life with clarity rather than reflex. Even now, as you rest, these subtle adjustments shape the version of yourself that will emerge with the light of morning. Dreaming plays a unique role in this recalibration. Within the symbolic landscapes of REM sleep, the subconscious expresses fragments of identity in ways that transcend logic. Dreams allow the mind to explore potential versions of the self-strengths, fears, desires, and possibilities without consequence or judgment. These explorations often feel abstract or strange, yet they help the brain refine its understanding of your personal narrative. Intelligence uses these nocturnal explorations to evaluate what fits your sense of self and what no longer belongs. Meanwhile, the emotional centers of the brain soften further, providing a calmer environment in which identity can reorganize. Stress signals fade, clearing space for quieter truths to surface. Moments of courage, compassion, curiosity, and resilience felt or forgotten are given room to re-emerge. These qualities become more deeply integrated into your inner structure. The self you slowly return to in the morning is not the same self that entered sleep. It has been refined, steadied, and clarified by the night's gentle work. With each peaceful breath, you drift deeper into this calibration. Identity settles into a balanced form. Intelligence aligns itself with these new contours, and your inner world becomes more coherent. You are carried softly through the darkness by a process that requires no effort, only rest, only stillness. And as the night continues, the mind prepares to guide you into even deeper realms of renewal, where thought, emotion, and identity merge into quiet harmony. As the night continues its gentle progression, your mind enters a phase where the very architecture of cognition is renewed. Thought is not simply restored but reorganized at a structural level, allowing intelligence to adapt, refine, and expand its abilities. This renewal is subtle, unfolding in microscopic adjustments across billions of synapses, yet its effects shape the clarity and flexibility of your waking mind. During these quiet hours, the brain prepares itself not just to remember, but to understand more deeply, not just to think, but to think more fluidly. It is a reconstruction of the inner pathways through which awareness will travel tomorrow. At the heart of this renewal is synaptic homeostasis, the balancing of connections formed during the day. As you experience the world, countless synapses strengthen, adding layers of information and complexity to your cognitive landscape. But during sleep, the brain gently reduces this overload, trimming unnecessary connections while preserving what truly matters. This delicate pruning creates space for new learning, sharper reasoning, and more efficient processing. Intelligence becomes lighter, more agile, free from the weight of mental clutter accumulated throughout the day. As synaptic networks rebalance, the brain's regions responsible for critical thinking and problem-solving regain their natural coherence. Neurons that struggled to coordinate during moments of stress or fatigue begin firing in smoother rhythms. The prefrontal cortex, the center of executive function, quietly restores its capacity to plan, focus, and evaluate. This restoration ensures that, when you awaken, your thoughts will have more clarity, your decisions more depth, your attention more stability. What feels like simple sleep on the outside is, in truth, a profound reconfiguration of cognitive performance. This renewal also strengthens creativity. As the brain trims and reorganizes connections, the pathways between distant regions become more efficient. Ideas can travel more freely between logic and imagination, between memory and intuition. Creativity thrives in this environment, growing not from effort, but from the spaciousness created by rest. This is why mornings often bring new perspectives, fresh insights, or elegant solutions to complex problems. The mind is not merely refreshed, it is redesigned for clarity. Within this quiet reconstruction, emotional intelligence finds new grounding as well. As cognitive pathways regain balance, the mind becomes better equipped to interpret emotional signals with nuance. It becomes easier to understand yourself, to articulate feelings, to navigate relationships with steadiness and empathy. Cognitive renewal is not limited to mathematics or memory. It strengthens the broader intelligence that shapes how you move through the world. With each slow breath, these subtle adjustments continue. Synapses shift gently, rhythms synchronize, and the silent architecture of thought becomes clearer and more refined. You drift through this process effortlessly, carried by the natural intelligence of sleep, deeper into the sanctuary of the night. And as this renewal unfolds, the mind prepares for the cycles yet to come where dreaming, healing, and integration will continue their quiet, essential work. As you drift further into the quiet depths of night, the mind begins to reveal a layer of intelligence that operates far beneath conscious awareness. This intelligence is ancient, instinctive, and profoundly efficient. It guides the body's rhythms, interprets subtle internal signals, and coordinates the countless processes that sustain life without ever rising to the surface of thought. In waking hours, this hidden intelligence works quietly in the background, but in sleep, it becomes one of the central architects of your renewal. It organizes, regulates, and restores with a precision far beyond anything the conscious mind could achieve. Deep within the brainstem and hypothalamus, networks responsible for regulating temperature, hunger, hormonal balance, and circadian rhythm settle into a smooth, coordinated flow. These systems form the foundation upon which all higher intelligence is built. As the noise of thought fades, these deeper rhythms become more stable and harmonious. The steady beat of the heart, the gentle cadence of the breath, the balanced release of hormones, each is guided by this hidden intelligence working in perfect synchrony. It is a quiet choreography that sustains your entire inner world. As the night unfolds, this foundational intelligence communicates with the higher regions of the brain, ensuring that emotional, cognitive, and physical processes remain aligned. When stress signals fade, the autonomic nervous system shifts into its parasympathetic state, the mode responsible for healing and restoration. Muscles loosen, blood pressure lowers, and the body sinks into true rest. This shift is not something you consciously control. It is guided by the deeper layers of intelligence that have evolved to protect and restore you. Within this quiet balance, the limbic system also recalibrates. Emotional memories are softened, instinctive responses become less reactive, and the brain's inner world grows calmer. The subconscious reshapes itself gently, allowing hidden thoughts and impressions to integrate into your broader sense of self. These processes occur without force, without intention, guided solely by the mind's natural rhythm. Intelligence here does not speak in words. It speaks in alignment, in balance, in the effortless harmony of systems working together. At the same time, the immune system becomes more active, responding to signals from the brain that now has the energy and space to direct its resources toward repair. Cells regenerate, inflammation decreases, the body heals at a level too subtle to feel directly, yet deeply impactful. This collaboration between body and mind, between biological repair and neural recalibration, forms the hidden core of restorative sleep. Intelligence is not confined to thought or memory. It is embedded in every system that keeps you alive and well. With each breath, You sink deeper into the embrace of this unseen intelligence. It does not require your attention or your effort, only your rest. In this silent sanctuary, awareness drifts like a soft glow, while the deeper layers of the mind continue their work. You are held by processes older than language, wiser than thought, guiding you gently toward the next stages of renewal that await as the night continues to unfold. As you drift deeper into the night's stillness, your subconscious begins to map the vast terrain of your inner world. This mapping is not done with lines or symbols, but with quiet associations, emotional tones, and subtle impressions gathered from every layer of experience. The subconscious is the cartographer of the mind, tracing patterns between memories, shaping the contours of intuition, and sketching pathways that guide your instincts and decisions. During sleep, these maps expand and refine themselves, allowing intelligence to navigate life with a deeper sense of coherence and direction. Within this internal landscape, memories are not arranged chronologically, but according to meaning. Events that share emotional resonance draw closer together, forming clusters of understanding. Small experiences merge into larger themes, and isolated moments are woven into the broader tapestry of your personal story. This reorganization helps the mind interpret life with greater nuance, allowing you to sense connections that might elude conscious reasoning. It is here, in this cartographic process, that subtle insights begin to take shape, insights that emerge as intuition in waking hours. As the subconscious continues its mapping, it also builds pathways for future understanding. When new experiences arise, they will be guided along these quietly established routes, finding their place within the existing structure of knowledge and emotion. This is one of the reasons intuition can feel instant, because the subconscious has already prepared the terrain, creating shortcuts for meaning to travel through. Intelligence becomes not just a skill of thought, but a living landscape shaped by countless unseen adjustments in the quiet of night. During these moments, the brain's associative networks operate with remarkable freedom. Concepts drift together, not bound by logic, but by deeper patterns of resonance. A memory from childhood may surface next to a recent conversation, not because they are similar, but because they share an emotional shape. An unresolved feeling may connect itself to a long-forgotten idea, revealing a new layer of understanding. These connections are the subconscious drawing new lines on its map, refining the routes by which your mind navigates complexity. As this cartography deepens, emotional clarity emerges. The subconscious examines internal conflicts, gently comparing them against past experiences, allowing fragmented feelings to find their proper place. What once felt confusing begins to align. What once felt overwhelming becomes more manageable. Intelligence grows here not through intensity, but through quiet organization, through the gentle arrangement of inner experiences into forms that the waking mind can understand and integrate. With every breath, the map becomes clearer, not in sharp outlines, but in a soft, fluid geometry that reflects the true nature of the mind, ever-changing, ever-expanding, guided by the subtle currents of emotion, memory, and meaning. You drift deeper into this cartographic process, carried effortlessly by the subconscious as it shapes the terrain of your inner life. And as the night continues, these hidden maps prepare you for the insights and clarity that will greet you when you rise once more into the light of day. As the night advances, your mind enters a phase where thought itself begins to evolve, not through deliberate reasoning or conscious effort, but through the gentle refinement of patterns that shape your understanding of the world. Thought is not a single stream, it is a constellation of neural rhythms, emotional tones, and subtle memories woven together into meaning. During sleep, this constellation reorganizes itself, allowing old patterns to soften and new ones to take form. Intelligence grows here, in the quiet evolution of thoughts that reshape themselves in the darkness. Deep within the cortex, networks responsible for abstraction and interpretation begin to shift. Neurons adjust their responsiveness, forming pathways that allow ideas to travel more smoothly between regions. Concepts that were once rigid or fragmented loosen, making room for new interpretations. This flexibility is essential. It allows you to adapt, to learn, to see the world with greater clarity. Even now, as your consciousness drifts gently inward, your mind is learning without intention, expanding the subtle architecture of thought. As these pathways evolve, the mind becomes more adept at recognizing patterns. Experiences that seemed unrelated begin to align, revealing hidden structures beneath the surface of perception. Emotional tones guide this process, highlighting which patterns carry meaning and which fade quietly into the background. This merging of logic and emotion deepens intelligence, allowing you to understand life not just intellectually, but holistically. It is a learning that occurs in silence, shaped by the patient work of the sleeping mind. Meanwhile, the subconscious continues to test variations of thought, replaying certain ideas in different emotional contexts, exploring alternative possibilities, and dissolving patterns that no longer serve you. This quiet experimentation strengthens cognitive flexibility, preparing you to face the world with greater openness. When you wake, you may notice a new softness in your thinking, a deeper willingness to consider unfamiliar perspectives. This is the result of the mind's nighttime evolution, an intelligence that grows not by force, but by gentle transformation. As thought evolves, creativity flourishes. The brain begins to blend imagination with memory, shaping ideas that reach beyond the obvious. Dreams feed into this process, offering symbolic narratives that stretch the boundaries of understanding. Even if you cannot recall these dreams, their influence lingers. They open pathways for inspiration, allowing creative insight to appear effortlessly in waking hours. Intelligence becomes more expansive, more playful, more capable of weaving beauty into meaning. With each slow breath, the evolution continues. Thought drifts through its quiet metamorphosis, emerging more open, more fluid, more harmonious. You sink deeper into this transformation, carried by the rhythms of sleep into a realm where understanding becomes lighter, freer, more alive. And as the night carries you forward, the mind prepares to guide you into even deeper layers of renewal, where emotion, memory, and awareness blend in ways that continue shaping the intelligence within you. As the night settles into its quietest hours, your mind enters a phase where emotion and cognition are woven together into a deeper form of understanding. During the day, these elements often move separately, thought shaped by logic, emotion guided by instinct. Yet here, beneath the surface of consciousness, they drift toward one another, merging into a unified intelligence that perceives the world with greater clarity and compassion. This integration does not happen abruptly. It unfolds slowly, like two gentle currents meeting and blending into a single harmonious flow. In the emotional centers of the brain, activity becomes more balanced. The amygdala, which responds to intensity and threat, softens its signals, allowing the prefrontal regions to regain their calm, steady influence. This cooperation creates a stable inner environment, a setting where emotions can be felt without overwhelming the mind, and thoughts can unfold without being clouded by tension. It is in this equilibrium that emotional intelligence strengthens, giving rise to the quiet ability to understand yourself and others with greater depth. As this integration deepens, memories carrying emotional weight begin to reorganize. Experiences that were once tangled or unclear gently unravel, revealing their underlying meaning. The brain places each memory into a more coherent context, allowing you to navigate its emotional tone with ease. This is not avoidance, it is refinement. The mind does not erase emotion, it clarifies it. And through this clarity, understanding becomes fuller, allowing intelligence to grow from both logic and feeling. At the same time, neural pathways connecting different regions of the brain become more efficient. Communication between areas responsible for decision-making, empathy, reasoning, and intuition strengthens. This networked harmony allows thought and emotion to complement one another rather than compete. Decisions become more aligned with your values, reactions become more grounded. Insights emerge not just from analysis, but from a balanced awareness of what feels true and what makes sense. This is the deeper intelligence sleep cultivates, one that is both rational and compassionate. Dreams play a role here as well, offering symbolic narratives where emotional themes can be explored safely. Within these dream landscapes, the mind rehearses responses, resolves conflicts, and experiments with new interpretations. Though these dream scenes may be forgotten upon waking, the emotional clarity they create remains. In this way, imagination becomes a tool for healing, and symbolic experience becomes a bridge between emotion and reason. With every slow breath, the integration continues. The mind grows more coherent, the inner world more peaceful, the connection between thought and emotion more fluid. You drift deeper into this harmony, carried gently by the night's quiet intelligence. Nothing is rushed, nothing is forced. The mind simply aligns itself, creating a foundation of calm understanding that will follow you into the light of morning. As the night carries you deeper into its soft rhythm, a quiet expansion begins within the mind, an unfolding of clarity that moves gently through layers of thought and emotion. This clarity is not sharp or sudden. It rises slowly, like mist lifting from a calm landscape. It comes from the mind's continued integration of memory, meaning, and emotion, revealing patterns that remain hidden during waking hours. Even in this state of drifting awareness, intelligence continues to refine itself, shaping a deeper understanding that will settle into your consciousness by morning. Within the cortex, pathways responsible for reflection and comprehension grow more synchronized. Neural activity becomes smoother, more harmonious, allowing ideas and impressions to move freely through the mind. This fluidity creates space for understanding, space for healing, space for insights that are not forced, but gently realized. You may not feel these insights directly in this moment, yet they gather quietly beneath the surface, preparing to emerge in the subtle clarity you'll notice when you awaken. As clarity deepens, emotional patterns become easier for the mind to interpret. Feelings that were once tangled begin to unravel, revealing the simple truths beneath them. The subconscious evaluates each emotion not through intensity, but through context, examining where it came from, what it meant, and how it fits into your inner landscape. Through this gentle sorting, emotional weight lightens, making room for calm understanding. Intelligence becomes more compassionate, more balanced, more attuned to what truly matters. Simultaneously, networks responsible for imagination and intuition continue to collaborate. They weave together fragments of memory, symbols from dreams, and the subtle textures of emotion into patterns rich with meaning. This deep synthesis creates a kind of inner wisdom, an intelligence that informs your choices not through deliberate reasoning, but through quiet resonance. It is the sense of knowing that feels natural, effortless, and deeply aligned with your sense of self. As this clarity expands, the mind's internal environment becomes quieter, steadier, more open. The boundaries between conscious and subconscious thought soften, allowing the mind to access perspectives it could not reach during the day. In this openness, creativity strengthens, emotional understanding deepens, and rational thought becomes more precise. Sleep does not simply restore the mind, it elevates it, lifting understanding to a level only possible in the stillness of night. With each breath, this inner clarity grows more luminous. It is not a brightness of sight, but of understanding and illumination that spreads gently through your inner world. You drift within this expanding quiet, carried by the steady rhythms of sleep as the mind continues its delicate work. And as the night unfolds further, deeper layers of renewal await, each shaping the intelligence that will guide you when dawn arrives. As you drift even deeper into the night's quiet embrace, the mind begins a phase of preparation, an unfolding process that readies your inner world for the day yet to come. This is not a return to wakefulness, but a subtle recalibration, a gathering of mental resources that ensures your intelligence emerges restored and balanced. The mind moves slowly here, touching each layer of thought and emotion with deliberate softness, strengthening what needs support and releasing what no longer serves you. It is a quiet preparation, one that unfolds beneath the surface of awareness. In the cortical networks responsible for problem solving and focused attention, neurons begin to regain their responsiveness. Connections that were fatigued or overloaded start to recover their efficiency. This restoration is not felt consciously, but it shapes how clearly you will think and how easily ideas will flow when morning arrives. Intelligence becomes more streamlined, more precise, adjusting itself in the absence of external pressure. Even now, as you rest in stillness, the brain is preparing its tools, memory, focus, creativity, so they are ready for whatever awaits you. At the same time, emotional centers continue to settle into harmony. Residual tension, the subtle echo of stress, or the faint memory of unresolved moments all begin to soften. The amygdala quiets, the prefrontal cortex stabilizes. This balance allows emotional intelligence to strengthen, making you more capable of responding to life with calmness and clarity. This preparation ensures that when challenges arise, your mind meets them not with overwhelm, but with resilience. Sleep refines emotional equilibrium in ways no waking effort can replicate. Meanwhile, the subconscious continues stitching together threads of thought, memory, and meaning. It rehearses small fragments of the future possible conversations, imagined responses, silent reflections, placing them gently within the architecture of your inner world. This forward-looking preparation helps the mind navigate upcoming experiences with ease. It is not prediction, it is readiness. Intelligence refines itself by weaving past experience with future possibility, shaping a flexible map for the path ahead. As this delicate preparation continues, the body mirrors the mind's quiet renewal. The heart rests within its calm rhythm. Breath flows steadily without effort. Muscles remain soft, unburdened by tension. Hormonal systems settle into balance. These physical rhythms amplify the mind's restoration, allowing every part of your being to align with the peaceful cadence of the night. The deeper this alignment, the more complete the renewal of your intelligence becomes. With each slow and effortless breath, the preparations deepen. Thought grows lighter, emotion grows steadier. Awareness drifts in a soft glow of calm. You remain suspended in this sanctuary of restoration, carried gently by the natural intelligence of your sleeping mind. And as the night continues unfolding around you, even deeper layers of renewal await, quiet, patient, and profoundly transformative. As the night continues its quiet progression, your mind shifts into a state where wisdom built from experience, emotion, and memory slowly reinforces itself. This wisdom is not loud or declarative. It does not arrive as a sudden conclusion. Instead, it settles gently, like sediment drifting to the bottom of a calm lake. Throughout sleep, the insights gathered from your life, every lesson, every reflection, every subtle realization are strengthened, clarified, and woven deeper into the architecture of intelligence. You are becoming wiser as you rest, shaped silently by the mind's delicate work. In the deeper layers of the cortex, networks responsible for long-term understanding begin to stabilize. Connections that hold the essence of your experiences grow stronger, ensuring that what truly matters is preserved while unnecessary noise fades away. This selective reinforcement is what allows wisdom to mature. It is not the accumulation of information, but the refinement of meaning. Even now, as you drift in the softness of night, the mind is choosing which impressions will guide you, shaping them into steady foundations for tomorrow's decisions. As this reinforcement unfolds, emotional clarity continues to deepen. The limbic system, now calm and balanced, presents memories not with intensity, but with context. Each emotion finds its rightful place, each experience its gentle interpretation. This clarity allows the mind to extract the essence of what you have lived, the lessons hidden inside joy, struggle, confusion, or growth. Wisdom emerges from this essence, becoming a quiet compass that guides your choices and reactions when you awaken. At the same time, intuitive networks become more refined. The subconscious evaluates subtle patterns, small signals, quiet associations, faint impressions, and integrates them into your broader understanding. These are the roots of intuition, the mind recognizing truths before they fully reach conscious thought. Sleep strengthens these intuitive pathways, enabling you to sense direction, resonance, or alignment with greater ease. Intelligence expands beyond logic here. It steps into a deeper, more instinctive understanding of the world. creativity also contributes to this inner wisdom. In dreams and in the drifting state between cycles, the mind tests possibilities, blends ideas, reshapes symbols, and explores emotional terrain. These explorations allow wisdom to grow more flexible, more imaginative, more compassionate. A rigid mind cannot deepen its understanding. Only a fluid one can. Sleep makes the mind fluid, softened enough to absorb new meaning, yet structured enough to integrate it. With each breath, this reinforcement settles deeper. The mind becomes more grounded, more stable, more attuned to the quiet truths within you. Nothing is rushed, nothing is forced. Wisdom is simply allowed to take its natural shape, strengthened by the soft rhythms of the night. And as this process continues, your intelligence prepares for the final stages of renewal, where clarity, insight, and emotional balance converge into a peaceful state of completeness. As the night reaches its deepest stillness, your mind enters the final stage of its restorative journey, a gentle descent into complete integration. Here, the many layers of thought, emotion, memory, and intuition merge into a single harmonious field of awareness. There is no urgency, no conflict, no unfinished movement. The mind's rhythms settle into perfect alignment, allowing every part of your inner world to rest in quiet unity. This is the deepest form of restoration, where intelligence becomes whole again. In this state, neural activity slows into broad, synchronized waves that travel across the cortex like soft tides. These waves sweep through the mind, reinforcing the clarity gained throughout the night. They cleanse the remaining traces of mental tension, smooth the irregular edges of thought, and bring your cognitive systems into peaceful coherence. As these waves pass through, intelligence becomes quieter, steadier, more aligned with its natural rhythm. You drift effortlessly within this ocean of calm. At the same time, the subconscious completes its final work. The maps it has drawn throughout the night of memory, meaning, identity, and emotion are gently sealed into place. There is no strain in this sealing, only the soft settling of insight into its rightful home. The subconscious releases what does not belong, allowing unnecessary patterns to dissolve back into stillness. What remains is what supports you, what strengthens your resilience, your clarity, your sense of self. This final integration gives the mind a sense of completeness that waking life rarely offers. Meanwhile, the emotional centers of the brain settle into deep equilibrium. Any lingering echoes of stress fade into the silence. Emotions take on their natural weight, neither too heavy nor too faint. This balance allows you to awaken with a steadiness that feels both gentle and grounded. Emotional intelligence, refined through the night, becomes not a reaction but a quiet readiness, a capacity to meet the world with calm, perspective, and understanding. As the brain completes this final integration, the body mirrors its peace. Heart rate drifts into a soft, steady rhythm. Muscles rest in effortless tranquility. Breathing becomes slow and natural, barely noticed yet deeply supportive. Hormonal cycles align, preparing the body for the gradual return of morning light. Every part of you, mind, body, emotion, memory, rests together in a single unified stillness. This harmony is the foundation upon which true renewal is built. With each breath, you sink deeper into this seamless integration. There is nothing left to process, nothing left to solve. The night has done its work. Intelligence, emotion, and awareness have aligned into quiet completeness. You rest now in the deepest sanctuary of the mind, a peaceful, restorative silence that prepares you gently for the transition that lies ahead when the first hints of wakefulness begin to return. As the night approaches its quiet conclusion, the mind lingers in a state of profound harmony, a space where everything you have processed, felt, understood, and released settles into its natural place. This is the calm before renewal, the final stretch of deep inner stillness where intelligence rests without effort. Thought loses its edges entirely. Emotion becomes soft, diffuse, balanced. Awareness hovers gently, like a light suspended above a tranquil horizon. Nothing is asked of you here. Nothing is required. You are simply drifting in the spacious quiet the night has created. In this softened landscape, the brain's networks stabilize into their most coherent form. Neural pathways that were strengthened during the night now hold steady. Those that were pruned no longer pull at the edges of attention. The mind becomes clean, uncluttered, spacious, built anew through hours of subtle reconstruction. This coherence is not something you consciously feel, yet it shapes the quality of your thinking, your emotional balance, and your sense of clarity when you awaken. Intelligence rests here in its purest state, calm, steady, and whole. As these final rhythms of sleep unfold, the subconscious completes its final integrations. Like the closing pages of a long chapter, it gently ties together the themes explored throughout the night, your memories, your dreams, your emotions, your insights. It seals them with softness, ensuring that what you carry into tomorrow is true, refined, and aligned with who you are becoming. The mind does not rush this process. It allows every piece of your inner world to settle at its own pace, guided by the quiet wisdom woven through sleep. Meanwhile, the body rests in a state of perfect ease. Muscles loosen into their deepest relaxation. The heart maintains a gentle, unhurried beat. Breathing remains steady, smooth, comforting. Biological systems hold their balance effortlessly, supported by the mind's calm orchestration. This harmony between brain and body creates a sanctuary of renewal, a quiet cradle in which intelligence resets itself without tension or demand. As you drift through these final moments, the boundary between sleep and waking seems impossibly distant. You exist in a state beyond thought and emotion, beyond memory and expectation. You exist simply as presence, soft, spacious, restored. The mind is no longer processing. It is simply resting, absorbing the tranquility that surrounds it. This is the deepest point of surrender to the night, where consciousness rests in peaceful suspension. With each soft breath, you glide through this final layer of the night's healing. The quiet expands around you, holding you gently, allowing every part of your being to rest in perfect stillness. Intelligence is not at work now. It is at peace, cradled in the silence that precedes awakening. Soon, the mind will begin its gradual ascent back toward light and awareness, but not yet. For now, you remain here, immersed in the pure, effortless calm that only the deepest sleep can offer. As the night reaches its quiet apex, your mind begins the softest, most delicate shift, a gradual return toward awareness that does not disturb the depth of your rest. It is not waking, not yet, but the earliest whisper of consciousness slowly rising from the stillness. Like the faint glow of dawn behind distant mountains, this awareness spreads gently, illuminating the edges of your inner world without pulling you away from the sanctuary of sleep. Intelligence stirs here not with urgency, but with quiet curiosity, adjusting itself to the first hints of morning. Deep within the brain, neural rhythms begin to change. The slow, sweeping waves of deep sleep soften into lighter patterns, theta drifting into gentle alpha, creating a bridge between the dreaming mind and the waking world. These rhythms restore your sense of orientation, preparing the mind to engage with thought once more. Yet the transition remains unhurried. The mind keeps its peaceful coherence, carrying the clarity and softness cultivated through the night. Intelligence does not rush toward activity. It rises with grace. As this subtle ascent unfolds, your subconscious completes its final alignments. It places the last pieces of memory, the final threads of emotion, the lingering fragments of dreams into their rightful places. Nothing is left loose or unresolved. Everything finds harmony within the architecture of the mind. This organization allows you to wake with a sense of inner steadiness, an emotional calm, a cognitive clarity, a deeper connection to your own quiet wisdom. This is the mind preparing you gently, respectfully, for the world you will soon return to. Meanwhile, the emotional centers of the brain continue to rest within their balanced state. The amygdala remains soothed, the prefrontal cortex steady and calm. This equilibrium ensures that when awareness eventually rises fully, it does so into a field of emotional clarity rather than tension. You awaken not into noise or confusion, but into a softness shaped by hours of integration. Intelligence here is not just cognitive, it is emotional, intuitive, and deeply grounded. Your body mirrors this final stage of inner restoration. Muscles stay loose, breath remains slow, and heart rate continues its gentle rhythm. Every system remains aligned with the peaceful tempo of sleep. Even as the first hints of wakefulness begin to appear, you are held in a cocoon of comfort, your body at rest, your mind at ease, your awareness floating between two worlds. This state is precious, a liminal sanctuary where you feel both deeply asleep and quietly aware, both still and softly awakening. With each breath, this delicate preparation continues. Awareness gathers itself patiently, intelligence settles into its renewed form, and the inner world holds steady in its harmony. You remain suspended in this gentle transition, where nothing is forced and nothing is lost. Soon, the final shift will come, the peaceful ascent into full wakefulness. But for now, you rest here, in the soft embrace of the mind's last and most tender stage of the night. As you drift within the last quiet layers of the night, the mind reaches a point of pure equilibrium, where nothing rises sharply and nothing falls away too quickly. You exist in a peaceful suspension, held gently between the depth of sleep and the first glimmers of returning awareness. In this space, intelligence is not active or analytical. It is simply present, resting in its freshest, most harmonious form. The night has shaped you, softened you, recalibrated you, and now it holds you in stillness, allowing the final traces of renewal to settle into place. Within the brain, networks that labored throughout the day now rest in perfect synchrony. There is no strain, no scattered activity, only a quiet hum of balanced rhythms. This coherence forms the foundation of the clarity you will carry into the waking world. The mind is not preparing to rush upward into consciousness. It is absorbing the last of its healing, letting its newly formed connections strengthen and its restored pathways settle into calm stability. Intelligence glows softly here, like a warm ember resting in the dark. The subconscious too has quieted. Its long night of integration, synthesis, and emotional refinement is complete. What once stirred beneath the surface now lies gently in place, each memory aligned, each emotion softened, each pattern woven into meaning. There is nothing left unresolved, nothing left wandering through the inner landscape. You are whole in this moment, complete in a way only sleep can create. The mind has done its work with patience and precision, and now it rests beside you as a silent companion. Meanwhile, the emotional centers remain bathed in the calm that sleep has crafted. Whatever weight you carried into the night has either been transformed or released. Emotional intelligence stands renewed, steady, and compassionate, ready to guide you with softness rather than urgency. This quiet strength is one of the greatest gifts of sleep, and it settles around you like a warm, protective veil, ensuring that when you rise, you will meet the world with clarity and a sense of inner peace. Your body mirrors this serenity in every breath. Muscles softened, heart slow and sure, breath smooth and quiet. The systems that sustained you through the night now wait patiently, aligned with the mind's stillness. There is a sense of unity here, a feeling that the body and mind are no longer separate instruments, but a single, harmonious being resting in perfect equilibrium. You are held gently within this balance, without effort, without expectation. With each passing moment, you sink deeper into this final embrace of night. Nothing pulls you forward, nothing reaches back. You float in a calm without edges, your awareness soft, your intelligence renewed, your inner world whole. Soon, the mind will begin its ascent, lifting you gently into morning's light. But not yet. For now, you remain in this sanctuary, breathing softly within the last quiet chamber of sleep's restorative journey. As the deepest currents of the night begin to settle, you arrive at a threshold where silence feels almost luminous, where the mind, fully restored, rests in a state of complete harmony. This is the quiet edge of awakening, a gentle borderland where consciousness drifts near the surface yet remains wrapped in the softness of sleep. Nothing pulls you upward, nothing urges you forward. You simply float in a space where renewal is complete, where the night's work has finished, and where intelligence rests in its most peaceful form. Within the brain, the slow waves that shaped the early night have softened into lighter rhythms, small, graceful pulses that signal the completion of integration. Neurons no longer reorganize or rebuild. They simply rest in alignment, like pieces of a puzzle settling perfectly into place. The architecture of thought is calm, steady, and open. This is the moment when the mind holds its greatest clarity, not in activity, but in its serene stillness. Intelligence lies here as a quiet, steady glow beneath the surface of awareness. The subconscious, too, has grown silent. Its long journey through memories, emotions, dreams, and meaning has come to rest. The maps it has drawn through the night now lie complete, softly illuminated, stitched into coherence. Nothing shifts now, nothing moves. The inner landscape is whole, balanced, and peacefully organized. This stillness is a rare kind of completeness, one that can only be reached through deep, unbroken sleep. Emotion rests in this stillness as well. Every feeling that needed softening has been softened. Every tension that needed release has been unknotted. What remains is a calm, emotional field, steady, spacious, and gentle. It is not emptiness, but balance. Emotional intelligence stands renewed, ready to meet the world with perspective, patience, and quiet strength. This emotional clarity does not announce itself. It simply waits within you, steady and warm. The body mirrors the mind's peaceful completion. Breath flows in a slow, effortless rhythm. The heart beats with quiet confidence. Muscles remain loose, supported by the night's healing. Every system has returned to balance. Every rhythm rests in harmony. The body does not rush toward wakefulness. It remains in the comfort of sleep's embrace, waiting for the moment when mind and breath begin to rise together toward the light. With each passing moment, you drift along this quiet edge of awakening, aware, yet dreaming, restored, yet still resting. It is a moment of pure ease, a sanctuary between two worlds. Intelligence, emotion, memory, body, and breath all rest in a gentle unity. Soon, the final ascent into morning will begin, but not yet. For now, you remain here, suspended in the calm glow of completion, where the last quiet notes of the night hum softly around you. As the night settles into its quietest moment, the mind drifts into a state of pure stillness, deeper than thought, softer than emotion, quieter than dreaming. This is the final descent, the deepest sanctuary within sleep, where nothing needs to be understood, processed, or transformed anymore. All that remains is rest itself, a silent, cradle-like calm that holds you without expectation. Here, intelligence is not active or expanding. It is simply resting in its most natural, effortless form. Within the brain, even the gentle rhythms of light, sleep spread out into wider, more tranquil waves. Activity becomes minimal, yet perfectly balanced, like a calm sea with no currents pulling or pushing beneath the surface. Every neural pathway that needed strengthening has been strengthened. Every memory that needed settling has found its place. Every emotional fragment has been soothed. This depth of stillness is the mind's way of sealing the night's work, allowing restoration to become part of your inner structure. The subconscious remains peaceful and undisturbed. Its long journey through the landscapes of memory and meaning has come to an end. It no longer searches, organizes, or weaves. It simply rests beside your awareness like a quiet companion. There is nothing left for it to resolve, nothing left to refine. The map of your inner world lies complete for now, coherent, gentle, and unbroken. It will guide you softly when you awaken, but in this moment, it is silent, suspended in a serenity that feels infinite. Emotion rests in this silence too. There is no rise or fall, no tug or pull, only balance. Feelings settle into a state of gentle neutrality, where even the echoes of stress or uncertainty fade into calm. Emotional intelligence becomes a quiet, stable presence within you, no longer working, no longer transforming, simply existing in harmony. This is the emotional heart of the night, the place where peace becomes something you feel not as an idea, but as a soft warmth moving through your entire being. The body, mirroring the mind, enters its most profound ease. Muscles remain weightless, the breath is slow and delicate, and the heart moves in a soft, steady rhythm. Every system has completed its cycle of renewal. Every cell exists in balance. You are held in a physical stillness that mirrors the mind's quiet glow, a stillness that is not emptiness, but fullness, the fullness of deep restoration. With each slow, effortless breath, the night wraps itself gently around you. There is no direction, no timeline, no sense of before or after. Only this, the pure, uninterrupted calm at the center of sleep's embrace. Soon, the ascent toward waking will begin, but not now. Now, you remain suspended in the deepest stillness of the night, safe, restored, and whole. As the night's deepest stillness begins to soften, a new kind of quiet emerges, one that feels lighter, more spacious, as though the mind is gently turning toward the promise of dawn. You are not waking, not rising, not yet, but somewhere within the layers of your awareness, a subtle glow begins to appear, the faintest whisper of returning light. It does not disturb your rest. It simply hovers, warm and distant, like a star slowly brightening at the edge of a dark horizon. Intelligence stirs here, not with effort, but with calm readiness. Within the brain, rhythms shift once more. The sweeping currents of deep stillness give way to gentle lapping waves of lighter sleep. Neurons begin to communicate with a little more vitality, quiet, measured, unhurried. These early signals do not pull you toward wakefulness. They prepare the mind, softening the boundary between inner and outer worlds. Cognitive pathways stretch slightly, as though taking their first slow breath after hours of deep rest. Everything inside you remains peaceful, yet subtly alive. The subconscious, having completed its long night of integration, now settles into quiet observation. It watches over the mind like a calm guardian, no longer weaving or reshaping, but simply holding the clarity it has created. This is the moment when insight becomes stable, when meaning, emotion, and memory rest together in perfect balance. Nothing is unfinished, nothing is out of place. Your inner landscape lies serene and complete, ready to guide you gently into the day ahead. Emotion rests in a state of perfect stillness. The amygdala remains soothed, the emotional tides flattened into a gentle, even calm. You float here without tension, without any lingering weight from the day before. This emotional clarity is one of the night's greatest gifts, a soft equilibrium that will stay with you long after you awaken. It is not silence, it is harmony, the warm hum of an inner world at peace. The body follows this rhythm with perfect grace. Breath drifts in and out like a slow tide. The heart beats with quiet assurance. Muscles remain warm, loose, weightless. Every system is aligned, every rhythm tuned to the soft harmony crafted through hours of renewal. Even the smallest cells reflect this balance, carrying the imprint of sleep's healing into the day that awaits you. With every slow breath, the horizon of returning light grows a little closer, but still, you remain wrapped in the quiet sanctuary of sleep. You are resting in the final chamber of the night, where calmness becomes a kind of gentle glow. Nothing urges you to rise. Nothing disturbs your stillness. You exist in perfect ease, restored, whole, and ready for the tender shift that will come in the final moment. As the night reaches its most delicate threshold, you drift into a space where time feels suspended, where the mind is neither rising nor falling, but simply resting in pure, effortless calm. This is the final embrace of sleep, the deepest hush before awakening, where every part of your being exists in peaceful alignment. Nothing moves sharply here, nothing bends or shifts. You are held in a quiet so complete, so gentle, that even the faintest ripple of thought feels like a soft light dissolving into stillness. Within the brain, the last waves of dreaming settle into silence. The neural rhythms that carried you through landscapes of imagination now fade into slow, peaceful pulses. They no longer weave, reshape, or integrate. Their work is finished. Now they simply glow softly, steadily preserving the harmony the night has built. Intelligence rests within this glow, not as a process, but as a presence, serene and whole. Your subconscious, too, lies completely at ease. All patterns have been placed where they belong. All emotions have been soothed. All memories have been woven into meaning. Nothing pulls at the edges of awareness anymore. Nothing stirs beneath the surface. The inner world, once shifting through layers of night, now rests in total clarity. You are complete in this stillness, untouched by noise, held in gentle equilibrium, safe within the silence sleep has crafted for you. Emotion has become weightless. There is no tension clinging to the breath, no heaviness pressing behind the ribs, only a smooth, warm calm that settles across your entire inner landscape. Emotional intelligence is not working here. It is simply being balanced, soft, restful. It waits quietly, ready to guide you when morning comes, but for now, it rests beside you, unmoving, peaceful. The body mirrors the mind's final quiet. Breath flows like a single, unbroken ribbon of air. The heart beats with a slow, steady confidence. Muscles remain warm and loose, as though gravity itself has softened around you. Every cell holds the night's restoration. Every rhythm sings its harmony. Nothing strains, nothing tightens. You exist in perfect ease, as though floating in a warm sea of stillness. With each slow breath, you drift deeper into this final sanctuary. There is nowhere to go, nothing to do, only this moment of complete rest, this last chamber of the night, where the mind gathers its strength in pure silence. Soon, the first hints of morning will begin to call you back, but not yet. Now, you remain in this soft, endless quiet, held gently in the final embrace of sleep. As the first quiet glow of morning gathers somewhere far beyond your awareness, your mind rests in the soft cradle of its deepest stillness. You are not waking yet, not rising from the comfort of night. Instead, you linger in a peaceful in-between, where the world has not arrived, where thought has not formed, where the gentle hush of sleep wraps around you like a warm veil. In this space, you return to yourself slowly, quietly, without effort. The journey through the night is complete, and all that remains is the soft glow of a mind fully restored. Within the brain, the night's long work lies settled and whole. Every memory has found its home. Every emotion has softened into balance. Every connection strengthened. Every rhythm harmonized. Intelligence rests here not as motion, but as stillness, silent, renewed, luminous. You do not feel the individual changes. You feel only the warmth they create, the clarity they leave behind, the spacious calm now drifting through the chambers of your inner world. You are complete within yourself, held in a harmony crafted by hours of gentle transformation. As awareness begins to brighten softly beneath the surface, the subconscious steps back with quiet grace. Its woven maps, its refined meanings, its quiet healing now stand integrated within you. Nothing is left tangled, nothing left waiting. Your inner landscape lies smooth and open, like a calm field after long rain. Insights rest where they belong, ready to rise when needed. Emotional clarity waits like a soft light beneath the heart. There is no weight, no noise, only gentle readiness, held within the stillness of sleep's final gift. Your body mirrors this sense of peaceful completeness. Breath flows with the weightlessness of a drifting cloud. The heart beats slow and sure, each rhythm unhurried. Muscles remain loose and warm, restored to their natural ease. The entire body exists in a state of quiet gratitude, every cell replenished, every system balanced, every hidden tension dissolved. You are resting not as someone tired, but as someone renewed, steady, grounded, whole. In this final moment, before the world returns, you rest at the edge of dawn with the simplest truth. You are enough. You have healed. You have released. You have been gently rebuilt by the silent intelligence of the night. Nothing needs to be done. Nothing needs to be changed. You exist in perfect alignment, mind, body, emotion, and breath woven into a single, peaceful presence. The night has not just restored you, it has returned you to yourself. And now, as the last notes of this journey fade into silence, you remain wrapped in the calm you have cultivated, free to drift deeper into sleep or to rise slowly when your body is ready. There is no urgency, no expectation, only the quiet invitation of a new beginning. Rest in this softness for as long as you wish. The night has held you, the mind has healed you, and you, gentle and renewed, are ready for the light whenever it arrives.